Hi, welcome to Lincoln Park Zoo. We are so glad you're here. On Stay Tuned to the Zoo today, we are going to learn together how giraffes are animals of extremes. So first things first, I would love to introduce you to our giraffe herd here at Lincoln Park Zoo. As we take a glance behind me here, there are two giraffes that you're going to see. That is Finley and Ray. They're the two youngest giraffes in the herd. Now, Atana is behind the scenes. She is about 22 years old, and she will decide to come out whenever she feels like, if she feels like. Now, when you take a peek at these giraffes, the first thing that you're going to notice is that giraffes have some of the longest, tallest, and heaviest features of any living land mammal. Their height is probably the first thing that you notice. A giraffe can grow up to about 19 feet tall, which is incredible. You can probably see that size difference between me and the giraffes right now. What you may not know is how much of that height is made up by their legs. So their legs can be up to about 9 feet of that height, which is incredible. In fact, if you compare that to the average professional basketball player, 9 feet is about 2 feet taller than, say, LeBron James. Now, the other half of their height is going to come from their infamous neck. That neck can be up to 10 feet long. Now, while their vertebrae are going to be the same number of vertebrae that humans have, 7, their vertebrae are much larger than ours. This is about 10 inches long, and this is just one vertebrae from the giraffe neck. This is a comparison of a human vertebrae compared to a giraffe vertebrae. So even though we share the same number of those vertebrae, theirs are much longer. This one is about 10 inches long. Another adaptation that giraffes also have is an extremely long tail. Now they're gonna swish that tail from side to side in order to flick off insects that may carry disease. I'll show you an example of how long a giraffe tail might be. This might be kind of tough to show you since this will probably go even further than my wingspan will, but this string is about 8 feet long, which is about as long as a giraffe tail. Now in the wild, they're going to use this incredibly long and strong tail to flick away insects that may carry disease. So this is a really important adaptation that they have. Now, we talked about how long that neck is, and you can tell how tall giraffes are. That also requires them to have an extremely large heart. In fact, their heart has to pump at a pressure of about twice that of any animal in order to get the blood all the way from their head, down their neck, and all the way to their hooves. A giraffe heart can weigh up to 25 pounds. That's about the size of a medium dog. So you can imagine how large that is. Now, last and certainly not least is their incredible tongues, which you may see over my shoulder them using to pull those leaves and branches down and into their mouth. Now, I'm gonna give you a little bit of a closer look here. This is a replica of a giraffe tongue that we have, and their tongues are purple and prehensile, meaning that they can use them sort of like we use our fingers, and some monkeys use their tails. Now, this type of tongue is going to not only be protected by the purple color from the sun, but it's also very strong and will be able to move between thorns on acacia trees in order to pull down those leaves and into their mouths in the wild. You can see them using those really magnificent tongues here behind me. And just as a comparison, here's about the size of my arm and compared to a giraffe tongue. We just learned a little bit about extreme giraffe adaptations. Now the next part is we're going to talk about how we care for giraffes in extreme ways as well. Part of caring for giraffes here at Lincoln Park Zoo means meeting them exactly where they are, and that means up very high. So a few tools that we'll use to make sure to get on their level are a platform that's about 10 feet tall, a ladder of course to get up on top of that platform, and there's also a brand new training wall at the Regenstein African Journey on the outside of this building. All 3 of those are tools and locations that help us get nice and close to the giraffes in order to have them participate in their care voluntarily. So some of this care will include those training sessions. Now this may include having a target pole so that they can be encouraged to touch a particular part of their body to that target pole. Now that's just going to look like a long pole with a buoy at the end. Those zookeepers are going to use that to instruct the giraffes to hopefully go to a certain location, and they'll get food rewards if they choose to participate. Now the beautiful part of positive reinforcement training is that nothing bad happens whenever they decide not to participate or do a behavior the wrong way. They always get a second chance, and when they do decide to participate, they get some of those favorite food rewards. Finley's might be something like green beans. Now, some of the other care procedures are going to include hoof care, which is really important for giraffes. They'll be encouraged to participate by presenting a particular hoof in a certain way, and that will help the veterinary staff and the zookeepers get a nice close look so they can perform x-rays and make sure to give them a nice once-over. Now, they'll also do some of those same things at the training wall on the outside, but they also have an opportunity to participate in those training sessions on the inside of their habitat, which is behind my head back in the barn. Now, those are some of the ways that we care for giraffes here, and some of what you're seeing behind me is enrichment. Now, enrichment is going to be anything in a habitat for animals that'll get nice and changed up for them and encourage natural behaviors. So what you're seeing behind me right now, these branches that are being hung from different parts of their habitat, the barrels that have hay hanging out of them. Sometimes they'll get particular types of puzzle feeders, which will encourage them to use their tongue. And all of that is to encourage the natural behavior of giraffes, which is making sure to reach that neck up tall and search for food here at the zoo. Now, those are some of the ways that we care for the animals here at Lincoln Park Zoo, but we also contribute to conservation efforts in the wild to take care of giraffes. And when it comes to you, you're supporting the zoo just by tuning in to Stay Tuned to the Zoo. Thank you so much.
We just learned all about how giraffes are animals of extremes. Are you ready to put those extremes to the test? We're going to step into the hooves of a giraffe and do 3 short activities. We're going to drink water like a giraffe, measure our tongues against a giraffe tongue, and really get a glimpse at how tall they are. Did you know that giraffes only drink water every few days? That's because their long necks are actually a little too short to reach the ground. So they have to bend over by spreading out all 4 legs, and it's a really awkward position, making them very vulnerable to predators. Let's go ahead and give it a try. So I have a water bottle on the ground here with a straw in it. You can try it with that water too, or if you just want to practice stretching, that works. We're going to stretch our legs out as far as we can and pretend we're giraffes. You're going to bend over at the waist and see if you can drink from your straw as well. If you can't, that's okay. It's a good thing we're not giraffes. Ready? Here we go. Wasn't as hard as I thought. Another part of a giraffe that helps them drink is their tongue. Their tongues are amazing. We learned all about them with Jordan. Can you remember which color a giraffe's tongue is? Hopefully you said purple. This color acts like sunscreen for their tongue to keep it from getting sunburnt, which is a really amazing adaptation. It's also about 21 inches long. Stick out your tongue. Can you guess how long it is? It's about 3.5 inches long. So our tongues would need to be 7 times as long just to reach a giraffe tongue length. Can you find anything at home that's 21 inches long? If you have a ruler or measuring tape on hand, go ahead and use it. Otherwise, you can use your fingers. Each segment of your finger between knuckles is 1 inch. See if you can find something 21 inches long and let us know in the comments. So not only do giraffes have the longest tongues in the world, they're also the award winner for being the tallest land animal. If you remember Jordan talking, she said that giraffes can reach up to 19 feet tall, which is kind of hard to understand. I'm 5 feet tall, so in order for me to touch the very top of a giraffe's head, I would need to stand 3 more of me on top of my shoulders, 4 of me all the way up just to reach the top of that giraffe's head. Depending on your age, you might be even a little shorter than me, so you might need 5 of yourself just to reach the top of a giraffe's head. A big part of that height is their neck. Now, Jordan talked about how giraffe necks can reach up to 10 feet tall. The smaller giraffes have necks that are about 6 feet tall. I have 2 yardsticks here. Each one is about 3 feet. If I put them on top of each other like this, that's showing me 6 feet tall. This is just a giraffe's neck. Now, you can figure out how tall a giraffe's neck is at home. All you need to do is stretch your arms up as tall as you can. The average child is about 4 feet tall, and your arms are gonna be anywhere between 1.5 to 2 feet long. So, stand on those tippy toes, stretch your arms up as high as you can, and you are officially as tall as a giraffe's neck is long. Can you find anything else at home that's 6 feet tall? Let us know.